My name is Hassan, Issah, a visual artist who lives and works in Kumasi. Currently wrapping up my MFA at KNUST within the Department of Painting and Sculpture. I am an active member of Black Star Lines and also Collective Anamorphic Stain, which is based in the Department of Painting and Sculpture. The exhibition that you are seeing currently is titled Eloquence of the Wind, A Dream of Toffees and Spikes, which is the body of work also is from a previous exhibition I did in Accra within the Bouquet Foundation in East Legon, which was also like my debut solo show and also my end of year thesis show. So within this body of work, I was very much interested in the object and material culture of Kumasi, and then wanted to start doing something with that, and also how I could use that to tackle some of the complex questions in painting for me regarding the limitation of painting, you know, the stillness of painting. I wanted to see what paintings could become, and so I started borrowing a lot from the city, you know, paying attention to the objects that were being created by the local craftsmen, and also the ways in which materials were being manipulated in terms of paints, fabrics, and you know, a lot more. And so with the objects, I was paying attention to signboards, billboards, banners, gates, balustrades, balusters, you know, and the kind of finials that were being used, and the history of these finials, and you know, even the ornamentation, tracking the genealogy of these ornamentations, where they were coming from, what are they becoming now. And I wanted to understand all of these things through the engagement with the local craftsmen, and also different experimentation in terms of reproducing these objects into paintings. At the same time, I was looking at these different historical trajectories that, you know, brought about the creation of these objects. I was also interested in how these objects within the city are also solving really complex questions on the limitation of painting for me. And so what I wanted to do was, how do you situate paintings within the city? And so some of the works referential to flags and banners were left in public spaces that you know, responded to the wind in a way that was very eloquent with the sound that they were making, and also the growth and the development of the work over time became very important to me. And so that was how this idea of Eloquence of the Wind, or the title, was coined. And so this exhibition moved from the Bouquet Foundation and currently is installed at the KNUST Museum, which is running for a period of 3 weeks, which was initially for the defense of my MFA, and then later on the time was extended because a lot of people wanted to see the show. And so it's also very interesting to me how a body of work that, you know, was developed towards showing at Nubuke moves from Nubuke into a different space, and also finds really interesting connections in terms of the architectural design of the museum, the kind of balusters or balustrades that they use in designing the museum space, and the kind of conversation that it was, or it is, having with the works that are situated in them. And also even the vitrines and how they are centered in the corridor in the center of the museum, and how the flags, you know, surrounds the foyer. And so I was, you know, becoming very interested in the kind of conversation this new installation is having with the space, and possibilities, how the audience are also engaging with them, the new documentation that were coming out of this same exhibition that had traveled from the Bouquet Foundation. And so when you are even standing at the top of the museum and then looking down. It's very reminiscent of a football pitch or a stadium, which is very interesting, something that I never had from the installation at Nubuke. And then also even at the entrance of the museum, how the works that are installed at the entrance sort of initiate you or guide you into the museum. All of these things became very interesting to me as an artist, also paying attention to how works move from different space into different spaces. Yeah. So the flag paintings, which are like over 300 paintings, are inspired by different buildings. In terms of color or colors, I borrowed a lot from colors of buildings within the city. So the colors that are used in producing every single flag isn't intuitive or intuitively created by myself, but inspired by a building that I had seen. I became very much interested in how people are painting, just as much as I was interested in the textures on the canvas, or the textures or the aesthetics that the painting highlight or shows. I was also interested in the colors. For the textures, I was inspired by how painted walls within the city begins to wear off or flake off after a series of events caused by the weather, like rain, sunshine, and then they begin to wear off, and then you're able to track the colors that were painted in years ago, and so it becomes like a sort of palimpsest. I wanted to recreate that in my technique or